Hey guys, it's Jessie. So welcome back to my channel. These are all the books I read in 2024. And I'm a slow reader and I didn't read as much as I thought I was gonna, but that doesn't matter. Just as long as I'm reading is what I love. But I think I read like 27 books. So let's just get into it. And these are by no means in any order, because there will be some physical books I have with me and some I don't have with me because either I threw them away because they were just bad, or I gave them to a free little library, or there was an audiobook. Also, I'll be just showing you guys the book and telling y'all what it's about. I'm not going to say the rating, whether I like it or not, because that'll be for a different video. So the first stack I have right here. First, we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is a trilogy, and it's about like a small town romance, but it's spicy. So we have a runaway bride who's the main character, and she runs away and to the help of her twin, her evil twin, because her twin needs help. So she arrives to the small town, but her twin's nowhere to be found. But she left her daughter behind, so Naomi has to take care and look after her niece while she figures out what the hickety heck is going on, and she stumbles upon this bearded bearded bad boy barber who doesn't get involved with high maintenance women, especially not type A romantic ones, until he does. It's so good. It's a thick book, and I realize I love thick romance books because I love to get immersed in the world, immersed in their story, and really feel for it. I love it. But yeah, Things We Hide from the Light, which is the second book I write. Whenever it's like a series, I write the number there because I still don't understand why they don't put the number of the book of what the position is in the series, you know? It really perturbs me. Then this book is in the same town and world as this book, but we follow different characters. But it's the bad boy's brother story in this one, with a girl that comes into town for a different business that she's not talking about. I don't know how to explain this book because of what goes down here. The reason why she comes to town is from here, but then her story does mix in with the brother story, and it's good. I said I wasn't gonna tell you if it was good or not, but I just can't help myself, I guess. Let me know if this is better audio or not. I got this for Christmas from my sister. Thank you, sister. It's this, and it comes in this nifty little case. The Shack by W.M. Paul Young, and this is about Mackenzie Allen Phillips' youngest daughter. Missy has been abducted during the family vacation, and evidence shows that she was brutally murdered and found in an abandoned shack deep in the forest. And 4 years later, he goes back to the shack and has this mysterious encounter with God. And it's very interesting. I listened to an audiobook. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is about a person house across the lake. Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of bourbon, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Royce, the glamorous couple living across the lake. They make for a good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom is powerful. One day, on the lake, Cassie saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship, but the more they get to know each other, and the longer Cassie watches, the more it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it seems. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Cassie immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there's more to the story than meets the eye. Opposition by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 5th book in the Obsidian alien romance series, and since this is the 5th book, I can't really say anything because it spoils. It's an alien romance, and it's so good. It's like adult, and well, they're in high school, but it's good. I love it. The next is Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is like Irish Mafia. Colin Griffin is the heir to the Irish Mafia. He's ruthless, arrogant, and he wants to kill me. We got off on the wrong foot when I set a very small fire in his house. Our families believe a marriage pact is the only thing that will prevent all-out warfare. I think I might need to murder him while he's asleep. This would all be a lot easier if Colin wasn't so damn good looking, but I've got a lockbox around my heart because even if I'm forced to marry him, I can never love a brutal prince. Then I read Origin by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 4th book in the series. I feel like I'm going backwards on my pile here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going backwards on this pile because this is the 3rd book in the series. Opal by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Ignite by Melanie Harlow, and this is like a single father romance, and it's single father with 2 daughters, and a girl that moves in next door, she's single, and he's like a firefighter. My new neighbor is a firefighter and a scorching hot single dad, but I swear I didn't set off the smoke alarm on purpose. And I was beyond mortified when he rushed in and saw me naked. Nothing happened, of course, because I, Winnie, romance junkie and owner of a constantly broken heart, has sworn off men for a solid year. Even protective men with chiseled jaws, bulging biceps, and deep brown eyes that make my breath come faster. Even former SEAL with broad chests and strong hands that make my skin sizzle. Even gorgeous grumpy guys who have their hands full raising 2 adorable little girls and claim they don't believe in love. Until Dex kisses me one night and I drop all my defenses, also my undies. He says he's not gentle, and he's right. He says I should take the dream job I'm offered in another state, and he's right. He says he's too old for me, and he could never be the man I deserved. He's wrong. This book is technically the 1st book I read last year, Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. This is about a girl who finds her boyfriend cheating on her, and there's this mysterious guy on his balcony at night playing guitar, and she like falls for him, and then they connect, and he's very attractive. I want to say something, but I don't know if it's spoilers, so I'm just rereading this. I think it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it. Okay. Next pile. Becoming Free Indeed by Ginger Duggar Volvo. This is my story of disentangling faith from fear. And it's very an enlightening story because I also understand some scriptures from the Bible more clear now from her also disentangling it and truly trying to understand verses that she grew up with that were twisted and taken out of context for power, which is wrong. And a lot of verses in the Bible gets taken out in context for the use of power, and it's so wrong, and that's not what the Bible is about. Then we have Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the 2nd book in the, Icebreaker trilogy. At a party celebrating the end of the academic year, Maple Hills students Rush and Aurora have a passionate one-night stand, never one to overstay her welcome. Aurora slips out before Russ can even have the chance to ask her for her full name. Days later, they run into each other at their new jobs at a summer camp. Counselors, hoping to escape their complicated home lives, Russ knows breaking the camp's strict no fraternization rules will have him heading back to Maple Hills before the summer's over. But unfortunately for him, Aurora has never been very good at caring about the rules. Yeah. The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is another camp book. The plot is at a camp from the main character. She went there when she was little. Trauma, terror, accident happened. And years later, she's back at it, but she's a counselor. And she's trying to solve the mystery of what happened that night. Then we have The Idea of You by Robin Lee. And this was turned into a movie with Anne Hathaway and Nicholas G. Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name. It's based off of Harry Styles, I think. A fan fiction written. The author wrote a fan fiction because she's a fan of Harry Styles and she's a mom. She's older in age, so she wrote one where she takes her daughter to a concert because the ex-husband was going to take the daughter to the concert, but work happened. And so she has to, and she has to go to the bathroom. She went to the wrong bathroom because she went to a trailer, and that was his trailer, the boy band singer. And they formed a connection, and this follows their connection, their love story. and it's very interesting. I saw the movie, and the book is always better. It is. Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. There we go. This is following Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but this is more of when she goes onto a podcast? No, that's the third book. She takes on another case about a friend's missing sibling. Yeah. I should have put this in the beginning with the other two. Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the third and final book in the, series? Knock 'em Out series. There is only one woman who could set me free, but I would rather set myself on fire than asking Sloan Walton for anything. I'm gonna just leave it like that. Okay. It's a friend of the brothers and a friend of the girls group from the first book. And it's crazy. Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This is basically Groundhog's Day, where she sees her son commit murder, and the day's just recurring again and again, and she has to figure out what's going on to stop her son from murdering him, and it's interesting. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, and I feel like everybody knows what this was about. A marsh girl who lives in a very secluded, isolated area. She grew up with not a good family, and then she gets left behind by everyone, and she has to fend for herself. So she's pretty smart, just not book smart. And these two towny boys fall for her, and then something happens to this one boy that she was involved with, and then she gets questioned for it, and it's just, yeah. Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. This is about this guy. He is a mortician. Yeah, autopsy. Well, no, he's a mortician at a funeral home, which is owned by his family, and she moves away from Texas and moves to Ireland to get a fresh start, and she has a job offering in there, and she moves in right next door to the funeral home, and it's a meet cute. It's a weird meet cute. Yeah, it's a grumpy sunshine book. She is very sunshine. Then we have The Love of My Afterlife by Christy Greenwood. This girl, she chokes on a frozen hamburger that she's eating, and she wakes up in the afterlife. M. Merritt is her name. The, afterlife therapist. And all of a sudden, this handsome guy appears in the afterlife waiting room, and her, meaning Delphi, the main character, her and the hot guy click, and then Merritt comes in and is like, oh wait, there's been a mistake, you're not supposed to be here, and he goes back to Earth, and Delphi's like, wait, that was my soulmate, we clicked, there was happening, and Merritt's like, because she's a hopeless romantic, she's like, I'll make a deal with you. If you find him in 10 days, you get to keep your life. So she goes back to Earth, she has to find him and make him fall in love with her, or have him kiss her first or something like that to complete the deal. And it's just a whirlwind of trying to find him. Next is The Butcher and the Wren by Elena Urquhart. This book follows a serial killer. A cat and mouse chase between a serial killer and an autopsy technician. And the autopsy technician is trying to solve who the butcher is, solve the murders to stop him before the next one happens. And they're playing tag. And it's just so interesting. And because the author is an autopsy technician, you get real life medical information in here. And it's a horror book, but it's not bad. But yeah. And there's a second book that's out, and I want to get it. The book I read is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintier, and I actually read this on audiobook. So good, listen to an audiobook. It's about this girl who in her past, her best friend was murdered, and people think she did it. So she flees town, but her family still lives in that town. But she comes back because she just quit her job, I think, or she got fired. And it's Christmas, so I think it's Christmas. Is it Christmas? It's a holiday or some sort. It's her granny's birthday. So she comes back to town, and everyone's whispering about her in the grocery store when she's in the grocery store because it's an unsolved case. Then this podcast starts up with season 1 of trying to solve the case. And then Ben, the guy, the podcaster, gets in touch with Granny, and then Granny likes him and gets them in touch with Lucy, the main character. Because Lucy doesn't know what happened that night. She was found covered in blood wandering the streets in the early a.m., but she has amnesia from that night. But nobody believes her that she didn't do it when she says she didn't do it. So her and Ben are trying to piece together what really happened. And yeah, a lot of small town drama. Then The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. And this book is about Sydney Shaw. She has had no luck with dating. She lives in New York. Trouble with dating. But then she finds this guy who saves her from being like assaulted from a date. And she's like, he's the perfect guy. But is he a serial killer? Because things are too coincidental with things happening around the house, around him and his schedule. It's nutty, but it's so good. But she doesn't want to think it because he's like, it's too good to be true. He's the perfect guy ever, and he's a doctor. He's amazing. But is he? Then we have Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is a brother's best friend, Buck. The whole family is on a ranch together. They're a ranch family, and the brother's best friend is like adopted into the family, kind of. Like they grew up together. He's like a troubled guy who the family took in, and she comes back into town because her mentally, I forget exactly why she went back home, but something mentally with her, she had to take a reset and just get out and like rest for a while. So she goes home and he's there, and she is a competing horse rider, and she signed up for horse riding in the town, and like she's scared to get back on the horse because of an accident that happened. That's why she's back home, because of an accident that happened. She's taking rest for it because it really screwed her mentally. And it's so spicy, guys. It's so spicy. So spicy. And I wish like it was the length of this. I wanted more from the story. Okay, 3 more to go. Which one? Under the Sycamore Tree by B. Celeste. This is about a girl. Her parents are divorced. She has a twin sister who died from an autoimmune disease, and now she's been diagnosed with the same autoimmune disease. And her home life with her mom is not great, so she goes to live with her dad, her estranged father, who has a new family and a stepson. She goes to live with them. But he doesn't really know what is happening with her because he left when the twin had the autoimmune disease. And it's just going through her life. It's a really sad book of her chronic pains and things, and she meets this guy at high school who they are going through something together, but they have individual problems, but they are helping each other through it, kind of. And her stepbrother is something else. At least that's the way it tells you on this synopsis. I'll get more into it in books I like or dislike. You'll have to see. Then I read Ready or Not by Cara Bastone, and I found this on audiobook, and because I could not get through it physically. And I always say, if you can't get through a book physically, try it audiobook, because that's what I always have to do. I'll put that, what's it called, book slump video I did, because I have some great tips, I think. But this book is about a girl who does a one-night stand, and she gets pregnant. She gets pregnant, and her best friend is married, and they've been trying to get pregnant for years. So there's kind of like a little rift between them right now, and she has to tell the guy that I'm pregnant with your child. But her best friend couldn't do it, so her best friend's brother steps up to it, and he's such a golden retriever. He is such a good guy, and he helps her throughout her whole ordeal, and even with the baby daddy and pregnancy. It's crazy. The last book, I think this is actually the last book I actually read. Wreck My Plans by Jillian Meadows. I don't normally read Christmas books because they're not the greatest writing ever, but this book was good. It is about a brother's best friend trope. I love that trope, so you're going to see that a lot on this channel. Lena's plans are simple. Surprise her family for Christmas. Don't tell them she lost her job, and most importantly, spend the week relaxing with the people she cares about. But when she arrives in Juniper, she discovers she's not the only unexpected guest this year. Her older brother's best friend, Gavin, is back after disappearing 3 years ago without a word. He has the kind of charm Lena has always been drawn to, but she knows he's also the kind of temptation she needs to stay away from. Gavin has built his architecture career out of planning strategies for dealing with the unexpected, but he didn't have a strategy for the possibility of seeing Lena again. Though he's been dreaming of her since the day he left, he can't risk giving in to his feelings. When they could upend the only family and home he has ever known. New plan. Try to be friends again. Just friends. But as the pieces fall into place about why Gavin left, staying friends is the last thing on his mind. And on Lena's. All the plans they've made might end up completely wrecked, and for once, maybe they want it that way. So cute. So these are all the books that I read in 2024, which is 27 books, and stay tuned for 2 videos being I like these books, and here's why, or I didn't like these books. I don't know what I'm titling it yet, but stay tuned for those. So you thought I was done. I thought so too, but apparently I'm not, because I just looked to my side, and I remembered the books that I don't own that I read. So I read Even When You Lied to Me by Jessica Olcott. Charlie, a senior, isn't looking forward to her last year of high school. Another year of living in the shadow of her best friend Lila. Another year of hiding behind the covers of her favorite novels. Another year of navigating her tense relationship with her perfectionist mother. But everything changes when she meets her new English teacher. Dr. Drummond is smart, irreverent, funny, hot, everyone loves him, and Charlie thinks he's the only one who gets her. She also thinks she might not be the only one with a crush. The next book I read is A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins, and this is a book based in England. Laura is the troubled one-night stand that was last seen in the victim's home. Carla is his grief-stricken aunt, already mourning the recent death of yet another family member. And Miriam is the nosy neighbor, clearly keeping secrets from the police. 3 women with separate connections to the victim. 3 women who are, for different reasons, simmering with resentment. Who are, whether they know it or not, burning to right the wrongs done to them. When it comes to revenge, even good people might be capable of terrible deeds. How far might any one of them go to find peace? And then I read, or rather listened to, As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This is the 3rd book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy, and the last book in the trilogy. This book is another murder she's trying to brain work. Pip is about to head to college, but she is still haunted by the way her last investigation ended. She's used to online death threats in the wake of her viral true crime podcast, but she can't help noticing an anonymous person who keeps asking her, "Who will look for you when you're the one dead or disappeared?" Soon the threats escalate, and Pip realizes that someone is following her in real life. When she starts to find connections between her stalker and a local serial killer caught 6 years ago, she wonders if maybe the wrong man is behind bars. Police refuse to act, so Pip has only one choice: find the suspect herself or be the next victim. As the deadly game plays out, Pip discovers that everyone in her small town is coming full circle, and if she doesn't find the answers this time, she will be the one who disappears. Yes. The next book I read is a nonfiction. It's called Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s by Tom O'Neill. And the title basically sums up what it's about. So this is the second to last book I read. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter. Like Zayden, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Rider's Quadrant, she'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly. The kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies to lovers, everyone at the war college has an agenda, because once you enter, there is only one way to get out: graduate or die. Okay, now the last book I read in 2024 is a dark romance. And I saw this all over Instagram, and there's like a teaser for it, and I'm like, I'm interested. And I feel like this is the first actual dark romance that's actually decent and good writing. I mean, Lights Out by Navessa Allen. Yes. Audiobook. So good. I don't need another kink. That thought pops into my head whenever I pull up my favorite social media app. But alas, every time I scroll, I learn something new about myself. And another one is born. And yes, I know I'm responsible for what the algorithm shows me, but I'm trying to ignore that fact. Lately, my feed has been dominated by masked men. I favorited videos with them dressed in full cosplay, decked out in futuristic military apparel, and wrapped up like ghouls. But more than anything else, my For You page is filled with shirtless men wearing ghost masks. Bonus points if they're heavily tattooed, wielding a knife, or covered in fake blood. At night, I dream about being chased by them, of them catching me, and doing deliciously dark things to my more than willing body. I never could have guessed that by sending one drunken text, those dreams would become my new reality. Yes, this comes with a lot of trigger warnings, y'all. If you're interested in reading this book or listening to the audio, well, okay. The audiobook reads out the trigger warnings before it starts, and there's a page, 2 pages of trigger warnings, I think, on the physical book. Take them with a warning, take them with caution. Yeah. Okay, so those are all the books that I read in 2024. If you like this video, and if you want more videos by me, subscribe for more. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.